Start. All right, there we are. So Tactical Tuesday. Michelle, what you got?
Not much. I mean, we're moving forward with some test stuff. Uh, the secret creation for organization admins and that whole, like, it's in review, but it should be working. If you want to give that a shot with Suffolk Lit Lab and see if some interviews run without the aid of their own repository secrets, that could be fun. I suppose I could do a couple tests before that. And it's set up for like regular people can. It was funny. There were lots of interesting little quirks, but regular people should be able to then create their own tests without any kind of need to set secrets or know that information. So I'm trying to think of anything else. I think I'm good. People haven't particularly been coming to office hours too much, or maybe that was just today and Friday, or maybe there was someone Friday. I don't know. I don't know where like people are at, or if we need to check in with people. I think we talked a couple weeks ago about like what our schedule for check-ins is going to be. Or like maybe we should just go like look at their repositories and see what their code looks like. I mean, if they're not like I know people sometimes have trouble like bringing up the things themselves or like going through it, with someone. And so, I mean, maybe we can also just review their repositories and just not, bother them
I think
about that.
Aubrey keeps a pretty good tabs on where people are at.
Yeah, I have one group, Michelle, that has an ask about theirs, and I was gonna, after everything, see if we could schedule one for the four of us to meet. And then I have another group that I've explicitly sent to go to your Teaching Tuesdays to fix a few things. So like I'm checking in enough, I think.
Okay,
But
that's fine then.
I also think some groups are at the point where maybe we want to do like an assessment, see how much work that they actually have to do without them. So that was also something I was going to bring up, see if anybody was willing to go through it with me, because I'm just not sure that I could catch everything that we would want to catch. So maybe Michelle, if you are interested in doing that, it sounds you and I could set up some time to do that. Cool.
Sure.
Thanks.
Cool. And doing some setup for testing assembly line itself. And, discovering a few small things along the way, but I don't know how that's going to affect updates or not. I don't think it should be a big impact on that. Yeah, that's where I'm at, I think, for tactical stuff.
All right, cool.
Probably other stuff too.
Caroline.
Can't keep track of the days.
I can't help you with.
I don't think I have anything administrative except, and this may or may not be connected, is the project that Quentin is working on. He has students working on that with the bad conditions.
If he does, they're independent contractors and not students.
Oh, okay. All right. Then I don't think there's a connection.
I think he might be using some interviews that students had previously worked on. I think like Michael had worked on the sanitary code stuff in the spring.
I guess the thing is, I think in a way it touches us in terms of Tactical Tuesday, is that to be aware of what's happening in Massachusetts and the various players and the egos of the various players in the state, and trying to, it's really not the job of this project to make sure that legal aid programs know what we're doing or what private contractors are doing. At the same time, when we're talking about court forms, it's helpful for us to know what's happening in Massachusetts. And I realize that Suffolk is doing more jurisdictions, but there was a miscommunication with a legal aid program, or something happened. And I think it's healing, but it was unfortunate. And I don't know what we can do.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Can you give a little more context?
Okay. Well, NLA,
Is it
Northeastern
something
Legal.
we need to pause?
Maybe we
do at
should
the end of this
pause just for a
conversation?
minute. I'll tell you
We
what the
can't
story
pause
is.
because of this, but we'll save
Oh.
yours till the end.
Okay, say it. So you want to say it? Okay. So the other thing that's happening right now is MLAC is doing their racial, their diversity, equity, inclusion 3-day conference. And the Kimberly Jones, who's a very powerful speaker and kind of an amazing intellect, and she did this really cool video that went viral. I think it was the week that George Floyd was killed, comparing what's happened, what the plight of Black Americans right now with a monopoly game and not being allowed to play for 300 years and then be told to catch up when the whites own all the property and all the money. She was just a speaker this morning, and they're resuming right now. So I'm thinking that unless I'm really necessary, I want to go to that. But also I put that in the assembly line, a link to that. It's free. The conference is free. It's on Zoom and it's open to everybody. So as much as possible, I think it would be terrific for people in our project to have a look at that, just because we should all know about this stuff. And actually, I wasn't expecting a lot, and this woman was an amazing speaker. So I think it would be, people should pick and choose, but as much as people can participate, and it's being recorded as well. So I think people can get that, but that's my plug for that conference. And so that's it. Yeah.
One, I'd love the link to the recordings, or to where I would find the recordings.
It's
or
in
link them when it comes up.
Yeah, I put it in the assembly line earlier today,
It-
the link. It's a web
Okay, I
page, and
can
then that
see
would be
in
the way to find the
Teams?
recordings.
In the Teams,
Yeah,
or
just
in
a
Slack?
regular, in Teams and just a regular assembly line. I think I put it there. I meant to put it there. I thought I put it there.
I can't
Um,
find it.
oh, maybe if I hit send, you'll see it.
Okay, cool. Excited.
Sorry about that.
That'll do it.
Awesome. Glad I asked.
Standard for me, write 15 emails and never send any of them, and cannot understand why people aren't responding.
It's rough.
Okay, so that's there. So that's me I'll stick around so we can finish, but I think that's what I'm gonna go do.
All right, cool.
Cool.
Bryce.
Do this every time, but I actually think I feel like I spend too long thinking of what I actually have. I don't think I have many tactical things, unless I guess vaguely tactical. I had I demoed how much I've gotten done on the e-filing proxy, which is the piece of software that will let us talk to Tyler's e-filing stuff and Jefferson Parish e-filing stuff. Essentially everyone here was on that call except for Caroline. Which you didn't miss out, Caroline. It was pretty technical. And the only tactical thing from that was that sort of am trying to balance finishing up Jefferson Parish stuff completely with also making progress in sort of knocking down the amount of uncertainty we have on Tyler and just how much extra work there will be there. And I feel like I've done at least pretty job. I wrapped up a bit last week of most of the Jefferson Parish stuff. The only thing that I think would be left there is to have a polished, or for me, I think that would be probably a day or two of me explicitly reaching out to Amanda, being like, hey, I'm gonna update your interviews to work with or without e-filing stuff if it's necessary, or if it's it will still work if you don't have the e-filing proxy server up, because it's kind of still in development. But then I would do that, and then essentially have, okay, this is the version of the interview that works perfectly with e-filing, and then we'd have two demos that I guess whenever we finish. I guess maybe this is a tactical things, David.
Yeah.
We have, when we are meeting with Jefferson Parish, not Jefferson Parish, we're meeting with the Supreme Court on Thursday? Yeah, that's Thursday. Are they standing this up right away?
The way this was originally thought was it was them standing it up early with our hope to do real testing later. So this was us hoping to get them, so they just have a DocAssemble server up.
Okay. So
And then we
would
had
it
said
make
they
sense to? Oh, sorry. Would it make sense to just have them get the DocAssemble server up, not worry about like, oh, here's another like Docker Compose thing or Docker thing you're gonna have to up. It's super simple. And then just whenever we do have like a polish, I'm wondering like, how are we going to get the Supreme Court up and running our stuff, since they're starting a little bit earlier, whereas like we have to certify with Tyler, so we pretty much have to be pretty close to being done, and there's not.
Well,
gonna be
they
a
don't
ton of
have to.
updates
They
after
don't have to have this Tyler certification, right? So that's one of the things. They will just, because they don't use Tyler.
that. True. So I guess
Um,
does it make sense to have like an earlier branch that's like, here's a stable branch with Jefferson Parish stuff? I'll be probably refactoring other related things for Tyler
There's-
that like touches Jefferson Parish, but like we don't have. But I can always like whatever
Yeah.
if it's whenever we get to the full stable product, we can be like, hey, you just run this and it'll update. It might have to go down for like a few minutes, but
Yeah, and I think that's, as long as there's a clear, I think it probably makes sense for them to put up a placeholder where there's for everything, and then update as needed. So we can be like, here's, we're setting you up. We're still working on this part here, so you'll need to update that, but that's the testing we're going to do in August.
okay.
And then they have to decide whether or not they're spinning up. I don't know how they're provisioning between development and production, if they're doing a development and testing and production, or if they're just doing a development and production. So they'll have to figure that out. And then we'll need to talk to them about how they move things over from one to the other, and then get access for Amanda and folks on their development so that we can put stuff there. And then hopefully over the next month and some change, they get used to the workflow of being able to look at someone's thing and say, oh yeah, let's move this to production, and then do so.
So is this Massachusetts Supreme Court or Louisiana?
No, this is the Louisiana
Louisiana.
Supreme Court.
Oh, okay. So their IT people are going to maintain their
They're going to
DocAssemble
host
server.
their DocAssemble
And
server.
then this project is working with the Louisiana team to develop interviews, and then they'll move them up. I didn't know about this. It's not a surprise given the little bits and pieces, but this is so exciting. I'm thrilled for you guys. That's wonderful.
Yeah, well, so this is the big grant that we've been working on. So there's this, and we're doing something similar in Illinois, but it's not the Supreme Court hosting. The court's
Right.
just they
Who's
use
the grant
e-filing.
from Louisiana? Is this Supreme Court?
So the grant is from Pew in both of these cases.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
This is Bryce's job. This is the reason why Bryce exists.
Yes.
I didn't.
Why
Wow.
his position exists.
I knew some of it, but I didn't realize, I just didn't put everything together. That's so exciting.
That's fine. Yeah, so that sounds good. But yeah, so I mean, the thing is so when Quentin helps and you help them spin stuff up, then there's discussion. But then the thing is I would love to have something that's working, because we can do all the testing with Jefferson Parish independent of having it stood up on the Supreme Court servers.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would see them as two parallel tracks that we tie together in August.
Okay. That makes sense. Cool.
All right. Cool. Aubrey. Or anything else, Bryce?
No.
All right.
For tactical, just a heads up to Caroline, a lot of people are going to be coming to you for reviews. So let me know.
They've started,
Yeah.
and I'm responding. I've got one for
Awesome.
11:30 on Friday the 30th that happened just now. So I think I think we had that conversation, going to Eleni. And so I realized if Eleni's doing it, let them go to Eleni first, and then I can do it. That'll save me a lot of time and then
Yeah.
come to me. So I'm happy to do that. And I think people heard Thursdays and Fridays are good for me, which they are. So that's great. So I'm
Okay.
excited to be doing that.
Awesome. Thank you. And yes, hopefully that we can get those eyes on it, so those things people have glazed over are not in there spending time on that. I've been working on the Trello card, and this is not necessarily something that we need to do now, but everything that was on the old forms triage Google Sheet is now on Trello. And that includes a actually pretty long backlog of forms that I don't think have been started. And so I think a future question or discussion is what should actually be there, what do we want, and maybe finding a way to prioritize them. So it's in the pre-processing board.
If we wanted to add more, would we do Trello cards? I mean, we're switching
Yeah.
from that sheet. So we just add Trello. So these subpoenas that I'm trying to get, it's not any delay at your end. It's my end. Just,
Okay.
I want to make sure that everything's done before I make cards. But that's what I should do, is make cards for them.
Yeah, we're putting everything in the backlog, and then we'll prioritize the backlog and pull from there.
And there's a backlog. Is it a backlog board? It's a pre-processing board.
It's in the pre-processing board. It has its own column that says backlog, and I've
Okay.
made cards for everything that we already had on that list.
Mm-hmm.
And made them from the template, so they all there. And any information I could collect, I put just some links
Oh, that's great.
to the form and stuff to just try to start using this Trello board. It's personal. I keep saying it's personal area of growth, and so I'm trying to put my money where my mouth is,
Yeah.
and develop those so that somebody could come in and pick it up and use the Trello board as we are trying to do. On the other end of that, I've been trying to think of the best way to use the Trello board for forms that we've finished. I think that's also a second conversation, but I just want to maybe put it out there for another time, because I don't know if it would be helpful to have a separate board for forms that are live, so that things like we can keep track of things that have been done, like converting to the new assembly line. That could be handled on a live forms board so that we know what's been done, what needs to be done, just as things like that come up in the future for maintenance. I don't know if people want to let that simmer.
Yeah,
thoughts.
we'd had some discussions about creating a post publication board that we could use to cycle things in for updates and stuff. But I don't think we've made much progress in thinking exactly what that looks like. So yeah, that can be something we also know on.
Okay. So you could. Sorry, David. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm just thinking the other thing is, and maybe this is too obvious, is on those cards. I think you can. I don't think it's one of the power ups or something. And you can say, we could figure out, like assign reviewers to the cards, SMEs, and do some sort of a trigger system. And I don't know, so that the card can move, it's ready for its 6-month review, or it's ready for its year review. And you can go back to the SME and say, has the law changed? Because a lot of my editors, a lot of my content is old, but what happens is the editors who are very involved in it know when the law changes. And so it's not the same thing for the interviews, because we don't have a date on the interview, but I still think it's important, because they're not as, SMEs aren't necessarily as keyed in to the interviews. It would be cool to have an email go out to them or something saying, this interview you worked on 6 months ago, has the law changed, or something like that. And
I think if we just put a due date on it for a task, that should send a notification to the members, right? I don't think we'll need any gold or whatever it's called for that.
Yeah, that's right. So that's what I'm thinking there. I think there's probably an
incredible amount of gold, though.
We do? Well, that we should save it for
whenever we hosted the boot camp, because so many people signed up with our invite link, we have a lot of gold. I don't know. It was like 6 months. It was at least like 6 months.
The gold doesn't evaporate, does it?
So
does gold evaporate?
I don't know if we actually started using it. I don't know if we started using it or if it just starts using it automatically, though. I'd have to check that. But
that might be part of our
way too much gold.
That could be part of our business model, so that we could do the things with Trello that we wanted to do before, assuming that we have a boot camp every year. That would be really cool, wouldn't it?
Interesting.
Yeah, motivation to stay popular.
Well, I mean, that's if you know that that's the way you get gold, right? Is to invite people to boot camp through that. That would be.
Yeah, but at some point we start hitting all the people that already have Trello accounts.
Yeah. But maybe not, because they're going to be new attorneys interested in this
Yeah.
stuff coming to legal aid programs and law school. I mean, I think it'll be a while. But I do think we could use up the gold very quickly, even though we have a lot.
Yes,
Because
I
there's a
think
lot.
it would
Um,
tend
I'm
to
great
go.
at spending money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but that sounds like maybe I'll explore it a little, see who I can
Mhm.
drop, and then get feedback from those of you who
Yeah.
actually have spent time in the post-production world outside of what I've
I
done.
feel like, Michelle, did we even create a third board that was like, you might also want to look at like what we were calling like the, because we had at some point had thought about
We had a
something.
testing board. We didn't create a fourth board that was a post-production
yeah,
like update board. That was
Alright.
just a discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also I think, and this might be a place for gold, but something to think about is that it says we have one remaining as I look at all of our boards. I don't know if there's a limit on how many boards we have, so maybe I won't
Some of
actually
those
create
boards
it.
are, some of those are just like boot camp templates, which and like and actual ones that we are running for the boot camp. So like we might not need all of these.
Okay.
in
Alright. Keep the
long-term
templates
future. And
because
I
those
will-
are the ones that we want people to be able to
maybe keep the
port
templates.
from
Maybe we don't need the ones that have the actual stuff from
the boot camp. We might not.
where there are
But we also aren't in
5
the,
different. Yeah.
we have one more and we're talking about maybe making one more board. So we aren't at a,
Okay.
we don't have to
yeah,
cross that
I
bridge
just-
quite yet.
All
Right now,
right.
let's figure out what we want the board to look like. And it might actually be that
Unless-
we don't use
unless
the
the-
testing board, and that becomes the,
Okay, unless the gold is disappearing. In which case,
oh,
you
well,
might as
but
well
that's
use
a
it.
different conversation. Now we're talking about,
Well, yeah, but
well, I
like,
guess if
Then
then you
you
might
use
as
the
well
gold to
use
get a
some.
board, you can use
Yeah.
You know,
the gold to get boards. I don't know.
Okay. I'll see if I can spend some of the gold if it's necessary. That'll be part
If
of
it's necessary,
exploring.
but we'd only want to spend it on stuff that would stick around, right? So
Right.
like, I wouldn't want to get us into like the thing where we started relying on something like some automated process that
Yeah.
then when the
Right.
gold ran out,
Looking into
it
this,
broke
gold
our
might be
workflow.
specifically like a profile thing, and like it looks like they have a different business class. So like gold might not work for like the organization-wide stuff that we need.
Okay.
But it's worth looking into.
I'll look
But
into it.
but thinking about this hypothetical board of post-publication board is, I think, worth it.
Okay. Cool. I have one last
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Something that I dropped the ball on was Teaching Tuesday ideas for like demos and stuff. Lisa's gonna do one next Tuesday. But if anybody has one that they want to do or has decks or something that can be updated and we could do, I totally dropped the ball on it, and
You've been doing so much, Aubrey. I don't, yeah, apologize.
I think it's
for-
fine.
well, okay. Well, I think Lisa's will
If
be
anyone
great.
has any ideas,
If anyone has anything,
So
let's do it.
I don't
We'll
have an
make it
idea
happen.
for Teaching Tuesday, but I do think that Lisa ought to go somewhere where she has decent internet. I mean, if she's going to be doing it, she needs to go somewhere she has decent internet access if she's going to be doing
yeah,
that.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
rough
Because
otherwise.
it's just not worth it, you know?
Yeah, I'm supposed to meet with her later this week, so
Yeah.
we'll see if we can do something. Maybe if she has something she wants to share, I can share it for her, and she can dial in from a telephone where she can still.
Yeah, I
Teach
mean,
her
that might
something.
be, I mean, the other thing to think
But-
about is she could do a Zoom at her own end and record it
Mhm.
and then run the
Share it,
recording
yeah.
and participate from the phone or something like that. But I just
yeah, there
don't,
should be some planning.
Yeah, we will. We'll try to work through some of her technicals and see what the best solution is. And that's a great point. But other than that, that was it for me.
All right. I had something I want to bring up, but it requires Quentin to be here because it's a meeting we're going to be on later this afternoon. I've had some student volunteers at one of the local universities wanted to do some work to help out, but I think the project they're suggesting might be more administrative costs for us than benefit we'll get back. So I was going to try to work through that so that we would know whether or not to say no, if we were going to say yes or no, thank you. But,
if you, David, if you,
mhm.
I don't really want to be part of that conversation, but if it looks like that they could contribute stuff and
there's
there's anything that I can do, I can't do a boot camp, obviously, but if it's not too much if it's, oh, here he is, there you go.
Yeah,
But
that's what I was just saying.
I'm just saying if there's, some way you can see it and you want to hand off some of the administrative stuff, I don't know what I could do, but maybe I could do something
So Quentin, I was just flagging, and this might be a conversation. Actually, I'm not sure if you're with your video off, if you can hear us or.
Oh, I can hear.
Okay,
I'm just
okay.
eating the lunch. So
Oh, no, that's good. I was saying that if I don't know if we can resolve it here now since we're about to go into stand up, but we need to make a decision about the student volunteers who. I was saying we have student volunteers at our local university who wanted to help out, and that they're suggesting some stuff, and I wasn't sure that the administrative cost would be worth the benefit, the return on that administrative investment. So,
do we know how much time they'd be able to dedicate?
No, they sent that email, and maybe you and I should talk offline. They sent before our meeting today because they scheduled a meeting for this afternoon, and they had an email with the proposal, which was so maybe you and I should have a side convo since we're running into.
Yeah, we should definitely find like a really easy on-ramp task, if anything. And I suspect there are some tasks like that.
Well, yeah. The thing
Okay.
they're interested. So I'm talking about the group that wanted to do the UX testing.
Oh, that group. Okay.
Yeah, and so they're saying, like, oh, we'll spend 6 weeks talking to users that you guys can provide for us, and then we'll give you some mock-ups, which then you guys can implement. And I'm curious if that's actually going to save us any time, or if we'll spend all our time trying to find people for them to talk to, and then looking at the things they want to implement and be like, well, we can't do that because of this, because of that, because they maybe didn't have the familiarity with the realm of the possible. So,
I
that's-
would be interested in the can we implement this? Can we implement that conversation? Because I would love to have some.
yeah, I don't
But
think
that's
we can,
7
I
steps
don't think
down
we're
the
going to
way.
I don't think
That's
we're
the-
going to get there.
Yeah.
The point is, and this is not, yeah. So there's yes, but that's a different conversation. So